What have we got here? Let's see. Welcome to First Pitch Live.
Good morning. It's Saturday, March 7th. We got a lot to talk about Friday's game slate and then a lot of the matchups today. But I'll tell you what, yesterday I was at work, so I didn't catch a lot of it. Smitty, you probably saw more action than me. So why don't you start off? How's everything going for you? And then what'd you think Friday?
Yeah, up in Pennsylvania, Dad's birthday, so we came up to visit. Just trying to keep an eye on some of the games. A lot of traveling yesterday, but, it was craziness. Good morning, everybody. Get in that chat. Let's go. Let's start talking ball today. A couple real quick, Q. I thought Columbia being West Virginia. Gardner-Webb. Now, good team. Gardner-Webb's 10-4, man. They put a whipping on Oklahoma State last night. NC State, I don't know what happened there. Lafayette can't win a game. Horrible pitching staff. They held them. NC State has been scoring crazy. They only scored, I think, 6 runs. Lafayette, congratulations with that big first victory of the year. Your team, Florida, like you said, it's baseball. Teams are going to lose. But then you had some studs. Dax Whitney again, just cruising again, 45 Ks in 24 innings. Jake Brown, big night at LSU. They finally got the bats going. Now they're playing Sacramento State. I think we could hit some home runs against Sacramento State, but he went 4 for 5, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs. And then a crazy one. I'll let you kind of talk because I know you were on ECU, but Coastal, Rex Watson, a big grand slam, walk-off grand slam. But it was can I just say again, bullpen suck. Q, what do you think?
I think that's spot on. Yeah, I'll touch on the ECU. So, unfortunately, I didn't get to make it. I had work obligations. I was supposed to be down there. Tried the old reverse jinx on him. Didn't work. I don't know. Norby he gets no support. Like, he has a couple bad pitches in a game, but the offense just does nothing for him. Now, obviously, they spark something late. They take that 6-4 lead. You think things are on the up and up, and then they just give it right back. It's just – and I know Coastal's a good program, right? Like, they're battling the injuries right now. They have the talent. You're just kind of waiting for them to wake up. But, again, you had all the momentum late there, and you just gave it right back. And then I didn't understand. So you get out of the jam in the 9th, guys on 2nd and 3rd, and then you go with extras, you load the bases, and you have Moran there. How do you not go to this guy? He's a proven veteran for you, and then you just give up a walk-off grand slam. I feel bad if anybody took ECU on the run line +1.5 because you just absolutely got gutted there. But, it's baseball, and the bullpens are just terrible. Now, I do think Sean Jenkins was lights out yesterday. He really shut him down and kept him in that game. But outside of him, the bullpen, there's no proven guy outside of him and Moran, and you didn't even give Moran a shot. So I think them moving forward, that was a must-win game. I think Coastal now has the momentum to potentially sweep the series. they big-time comeback there. You get to bounce back today. You're at home. It's going to be a rowdy environment on a Saturday. So maybe Coastal -166 is the side there. You're laying a little juice, but if it's going to hit, it's going to hit. And then obviously UNC got everybody. Now, I don't want to diminish Virginia. I thought they hit the ball very well coming into this. The pitching was our concern heading into the year. They look great. They ran DeCaro out. I think they gave up 5 earned. They run him out against a very, very solid Jason DeCaro. They even tacked on more against the bullpen. And, they're going to have to face Folger Boas today. But, man, that Virginia team can mash. And they have a lot of guys from last year's team still, not only from Duke, but for UVA. Harrison Didewick is having a good bounce back year. Joe Tiroli, the transfer from Rider, looks great. Evan, Eric Becker. There's some dudes. So don't count Chris Pollard's Wahoos out because they're a force and they're showing it here early on. We got Todd Harris in the chat. Yeah, we're gonna get in. The lines are tough. Just stay with us. Hopefully, they're populating some stuff while we're still on the show. But good morning, everybody
Q, can
else.
I jump in since he's
go ahead.
Since Todd's in the chat, man. Tyler Bell, welcome back, man. 2 for 4, double home run. Can some of these, and I'm not trying to bash but some of these top 25s, can you get Kentucky up a little bit? Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Pitching's been great. Your
Jackson
best hitter
Jelkins
not in the
stud.
lineup now. Get him up, man. 12-2. Let's go. Get Kentucky up. Love the people of Kentucky.
Big Batcats fan. Listen, Kentucky baseball. I know you follow us. if you're looking to send out some gear, if you got to get a write-off for your taxes, Smitty's your guy.
Oh,
We'll send you the
it.
address.
Love it. I didn't pack my Kentucky hat that I got, so I should.
Is there a team Friday that impressed you? I know it's only a 1-game sample, right? We'll touch back on this, but is there a team you're like, man, they're legit. They played a good team where they picked up a quality win last night. Is there a team that did that, or do you have to see more?
Well, again, Southern Miss. I know they didn't have, playing North Alabama, but Southern Miss has played really, really well so far in my notes. Oregon State, I know it's Xavier too. If they could just keep hitting, their pitching is so good. And again, with, Whitney, Wake Forest, I had them as one of my dark horses this year. They're playing good ball. I had them yesterday in a money line parlay. Stanford, I think they're struggling. I like Wake Forest, but Kentucky's a team. I'm going to say that I think should be getting a lot more love. Texas is a team. Texas they don't give up any runs. I mean, good luck. I mean, if they can score runs, I don't know how many teams are going to beat them with that pitching staff. I mean,
they're the best team in the country. They're the most complete.
Yeah, 13 wins in a row, 10 straight at home. And again, I'm so glad. I'm going to say this. I know they lost last night, but I know Florida was going 40-1. I think I got them at 35-1. I know they lost. This is baseball. Losses are going to happen. You don't want to see that continue into a losing streak. One loss, let's get back on. But I really like where Florida is too. I know they lost last night, but I think they're just a really good team. UCLA, again, with the bats they have, Gasparino from Texas is just hitting home runs. You got the shortstop that's just a superstar. That team's very complete. So there's some good teams. I was I'm not surprised that UVA beat North Carolina last night, but I didn't think it was going to be in that fashion. UVA is a very good team. Good players came with him from Duke. Again, like we said, pitchers are going to have off nights. Dakara for sure had an off night last night. But I like North Carolina still too. But that UVA team, shocked that they won that big, but I think North Carolina bounces back.
Yeah, I agree. That is one. I don't see a line. I looked at Bet365 and I looked at, now obviously I'm in Virginia. I was in DC, so I was able to see it. So if you have one while we're on here, shout it out. But at the time when I was still in DC, I did not see a line for that game. I still think North Carolina, I think they finished, they were slightly above -200 yesterday. I kind of think they'd be in the same range with Fulger Boaz going today on the bump. So I do think it's a good bounce back spot if you can find a North Carolina as a parlay. We got Canes talking about a worse loss. Yeah, 5-run lead, and you just kind of blow it. You then gain another 3. I think it was 7-4 at one point, and you just didn't have anything to show for it. Their bullpen, that was one of my concerns heading into the season is, obviously Nick Roberts on the front end is still coming back from injury. Once you get him, maybe one of those guys on the Sunday rotation or Saturday bumps back to the bullpen and helps, but you just don't know when he's going to come back. And then outside of, Rob Evans and but now obviously he's a starter for right now, but Calera, and he hasn't looked great in my opinion against quality teams now. And then same for Ryan Bilka. Bilka just can't figure out how to get that splitter across the plate without diving it and putting the catcher in a bad spot. And his inconsistency is hurting the Canes right now big time. He did it against Florida. He did it last night against, in my opinion, not a great Boston College team. And it just is what it is. Calera, I mean, he was considered a favorite to be a weekend starter. And right now, he's not giving JD Arteaga any reason to start him, let alone pitch him in the bullpen. Maybe he does need to start. Maybe there's something there where he's just not a bullpen guy. So at some point, Miami's going to have to figure out some bullpen issues, whether that's making some changes within the rotation, pushing guys back or whatever the case may be. But they got to figure out quick, because if they drop this series, that's 2 back-to-back series. Like, you don't want to derail the train this early. So, it is what it is. Colarusso is a quality pitcher for Boston College, but today they should have a pretty big drop-off. So, if you're the Hurricanes, you really got to pick this up and you got to clean up on Sunday. So, looking into today, because I don't want to comment too much. I didn't get to watch a lot of baseball yesterday, so I don't want to say who overly impressed me. One of the lines, and listen, the lines are horrible on Bet365 right now. They're bad on DraftKings, so hopefully we get some decent run lines and over-unders. Arizona. All right. Arizona went 2 of 3 in Vegas. They dropped the midweek, but then they come back. Now, again, it's Fresno State. Fresno has a little bit of an offense. They blank them 9-0 on Kramkowski last night. The midweek was against a quality Grand Canyon team. You scored a little bit there. I like Smith Bailey today.
Yeah.
Like, I just, they're too good, right? Like, a lot of people were like, oh, they lost a lot offensively. I get that. But they're just too good on the mound. They're going to start winning. They pick up their 4th win last night. They're not going to have a disparity of 20 losses between their win-loss. I just don't see it. Smith Bailey's one of the better Saturday guys in the country. And to get him, now you're coming off a nice home win. You're starting to put a little bit of momentum together. Smith Bailey, I mean, I don't know what an over-under would be. If you catch 11, maybe there's, a shot at the under there. Delta and I were talking about that earlier on today. But, I mean, minus 190, it's one of the better lines out there, as bad as that's saying. I mean, you could lay the juice or you could parlay. I parlayed them with Arkansas. I think Arkansas is starting to tune up. You got Hunter Dietz on the mound. Stetson's not good this year. They lost a lot of talent last year. I know they're predicted pretty high in the A-Sun, but they just haven't lived up to it. And they got throttled by anybody they played at Florida. So I think this is a spot where Arkansas can clean sweep and get ready for Mississippi State next week. So that's minus 136 as it stands right now. So that's the only official play I have. But I know we talked about, you're getting Hawaii. It's that late night game. Minus 130 was one you had on your mind. And I'll give you one more. USC, right? I know they're minus 300. They're a good parlay piece. Mason Edwards pitched last night. Their Saturday guys arguably just as good, if not slightly better. Illinois, I mean, you're kind of fading the win-loss column, right? With USC, it's hard to do. They haven't shown you any reason that they'll lose, but a loss is coming. No team goes undefeated. Maybe that comes tomorrow once they get the series victory. They're a team that I think you have to put in a parlay and just let it ride. And if you lose, you lose, right? It was their time, but you don't want to sit there and watch them win another Saturday game with bad lines. And you're like, man, that was playable and I didn't touch it. What are some leans that you're looking at early on here as we have money lines only?
Yeah, I had Arizona down too. That was one the guys were talking about yesterday, and I threw it in a 3-teamer, which Miami, thank you very much for losing that game because that would have been another winner. Yeah, like you said, Kramkowski coming off 12 strikeouts. Pitching, I think, is there. I think Arizona's turning in a little bit. I like them. I went yesterday, Oregon, Nebraska in one. I think Oregon. I know Purdue came back in that, and again, that was about a bullpen alert game too. That was going off. But I'm kind of looking at that. One I want to look at Q for an over maybe later when those numbers come out. Cal Baptist BYU. They played
over
Thursday
by
night.
The 5th inning yesterday.
Yeah, Thursday night it was 13-11. Last night it was 14-7. So offense. So I'm going to look at that one, see when that one's coming up.
I want to say that was 13.5 Friday or Thursday, maybe 13. And then it was 14.5 yesterday. Like I said, it went over by the 5th inning. I'm curious where they placed that one. I bet you they jumped to about a 16 and a half line.
Yeah, it might be too high.
That's a 4-game series, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Thursday through Sunday there. Yesterday I'm kind of eyeing up this TCU team again to match them. I matched them with Troy yesterday. That was a big winner. If you look at this TCU team, I think the bats are starting to hit. I think it was going into last night, 4 out of the last 5 games they've hit in the double digits. They're playing Tulane. I kind of like them again. I like the Arkansas piece too that you said. I think the last couple games, the last 4, the bats are going a little bit. 9 runs, 11, 10, 7. Stetson, I think it's now 6 in a row they've lost on the road. I think that's a really good piece there too. With that, I want to see in Oklahoma is they got rained. They won Thursday night 2-1 against Santa Clara. They got rained out yesterday. That's one I want to keep an eye on.
I don't see a line for that one.
No, I do not yet either.
The problem, so I'll tell you this to anybody wondering, like when it comes to doubleheaders, DraftKings is very hesitant to either give both games or let alone one. You're not going to get both games, maybe in a regional setting, but outside of that, you're lucky to get one of the games. Usually they just don't post it. because there's so many different variables. Who's pitching? Now they're obviously 9-inning games again, which is good, but there's just so much uncertainty. They're not willing to risk that. The TCU, I'll give you real quick, was minus 270 on DraftKings.
Who was that,
And
Q?
then TCU. You talked about that. They're
Yep.
sitting minus 270. And then obviously the Oklahoma, we don't have a line. Go ahead, and I'll give you one more play because I hit it last night. But I want to finish your thought.
Well, one of my I've been on a pretty good streak right now. I think 14-6 last 20 bets. Could have been a lot better last night too. I still made some money, but with New Mexico blowing a big lead, Miami blowing a big lead, that kind of hurt. But I'm going to keep an eye. I want to see the run line on this one. Grand Canyon's playing Utah. I think Utah is a favorite in that one.
Minus 154 Utah.
Okay, yep. I want to look at a run line. If it's not crazy, I'm going to jump on Grand Canyon today in that one. That's one.
I want to say that finished, 9-1?
I think
that.
Yeah, I think they took care of business pretty good last night. I know.
Now they have a hell of a Friday night starter, McEnany, however you say that.
Yeah.
But they don't really have much after that.
Yeah, he pitched well last night. I know. Duke was another. I played run line, and again, that was a feeling. I know Notre Dame's Friday night guy is a stud. He again just shoved last night on the mound. But I kind of have Duke. I'm kind of leaning a little bit coming back with Duke. Minus 120 today. That's one I might play today on that one too.
Todd, I saw the minus 185 FAU play. Oh, I see it. It's about minus 180 now. Some people got lucky. If you have Fanatics, check it out. I don't have a Fanatics account, but there was a little slip up. I think Delta caught it yesterday. He got Florida Atlantic plus 145.
40, yeah. I saw
insane.
That. Yeah, I saw that this morning, and I got on. I was like, man, where did he get that? Because it's minus 180. Good for him.
It might still be there if you have a Fanatics account. It's worth taking a look. So just put that on the record. Yeah, that FIU team, I just don't know how to feel about them. They played Florida okay for the first few innings, and then Florida just kind of sluggishly finished business. But Florida Atlantic, I know the record doesn't show it. They've played a lot of good teams. They've played a lot of home games. I think this series is a home series, even though they're showing as the away team. Unless it's one of those where they
be back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. I like FAU there. I think that's a good spot.
I played him yesterday. I had him with New Mexico.
Yeah. Here's a spot. I played it yesterday, and I got to look at the pitching matchups. I played Troy hosting Maryland. I'm not high on Maryland. They're a Big Ten team. I'm not high on many Big Ten teams outside of your Oregon, your USC, and your UCLA, all the West Coast teams. I thought this was a good spot for Troy. You get home, you get a signature or a quote-unquote Big Ten series victory. Does that kind of spark this team? Listen, Skylar Meade's got a real good team down there. Athletically, physically, they're not playing to their potential. And you felt like there were some games that they just either didn't show up for or would just blow it late. But we've seen them over the last couple of years. They've won quality games. And it's like, when is that Troy Trojans team going to finally get over the cusp and start finding some wins and put together a little streak? It's a little heavy price. It's minus 175, but I like Troy at home. They got a little momentum last night. I didn't see the final. I saw they were up. I think it was 4-1 late, like in the seventh yesterday. So I don't know how it finished, but you got to feel good about beating a quote-unquote Big Ten team as a mid-major. I like Troy there in a parlay spot. I really do. I think they're going to finally get some momentum.
I have them down too, Q. I like that. I think it's a great spot. Hey, you know me sometimes, Q. I love going back to the well.
Back to the well.
Back to the well. TCU, Troy might be another. Just bring it right back, and let's see what we can do again today with that. That's a good one. How about Indiana, Q? I had them yesterday. I
just don't know it. I don't know how to feel about that team.
Okay, but they play Washington. That's all you need to know.
That's fair. That's fair. We watched that. What did they end up winning yesterday?
I don't care. I love it. I played Indiana Wake Forest yesterday. Hey, did we go back to the well again today? I don't know. Might be. But no,
did I see Indiana boat race them?
I don't think it was a blowout off the top of my head. I don't think it was a blowout. I can't remember.
Find that score. Todd Harris, that's your homework. Find that score. The Indiana score.
for some reason, I'm thinking it was like 4-2, but maybe I'm wrong on that. But yeah, we did watch Washington. I'm just not impressed with Washington. Too bad I don't have my Indiana baseball shirt on today, but I maybe get another win for me today, and maybe I'll start wearing it all the time again.
Do you think, and here, this is just a pure projection now, minus 520. So you mentioned earlier Oregon State, Xavier. Xavier has a gauntlet of a schedule.
Yeah, they do.
At what point do they get kind of tired and exhausted? I mean, they've played, Louisville, Arkansas, and a lot of these were on the road. I think almost every single series was on the road. I think they played Ohio State over the midweek, a team that can score a bunch of runs. Oregon State is trying to find that offense. If you can catch them at a minus 1.5, Ethan Kleinschmidt on the mound. They obviously took care of business. They covered that yesterday. At what point, I'm not fully banking on the Beavers offense. It's more of Xavier kind of tiring out just on this long gauntlet of a schedule. Could that be a sneaky spot where maybe you catch like a 2-point win, maybe a 3-run win, and catch Oregon State there? Not on the minus 520, but on a run line there. 2.5 might be a little dicey, but
I think
maybe 1.5.
Yeah, I think that's a smart play.
Yeah.
I like them personally, Oregon State. I like matching them maybe. I don't even know what the number is, but I like good teams coming off losses, like a Miami.
Yeah.
Like, wake up, go home, look in the mirror. What kind
Florida.
of team show up today? Florida, that was playing really well, dropped one last night. Could you do an Oregon State, Miami, Florida money line parlay? I don't know what the numbers off the top of my head would be, but that's something I might look at.
Yeah, Indiana 4-2. I don't know why I thought that was a blowout.
4-2. Yep. 4-2.
Yeah. So here's the problem, right? We don't have the run lines, and I keep harping on that. It's they should be up right now, but nonetheless, we're dealing with what we got. The lines, they're just outrageous. I mean, you're in a spot where you're only finding a couple teams to doing a 2-team parlay, and it gets really hard once you start getting into those 3 and 4 teams trying to find any value, let alone hitting all 4 legs. And with college baseball, their bullpens and metal bats, it's so. I know this is a tune-up weekend. It's kind of what we would consider in college football as the cupcake weekend before conference play. You really got to be careful with what you're playing because, again, they don't post all the lines. Like I said, we're not seeing a UNC UVA line. We're not seeing a Florida line yet. You got to pick and choose. This is a week where maybe you don't go as crazy. I know Todd Harris, we're all, critical about it. Oregon State's offense, at sometimes they'll spark 7 or 8 runs, but then they're barely fighting for 2 or 3. Yeah, I mean, listen, you're going to have to roll the dice here at some point. You trust Ethan Kleinschmidt on the mound probably more than anybody Xavier has, and they have a solid bullpen. You catch them at home, and again, Corvallis is a hard place to play. I'm not saying if it's 2.5, I'd stay away. If it's a minus 1.5, I'm going to think long and hard if I can just secure a 2-run victory there. And in all honesty, there's no reason why we can't. And this is no shots against Xavier. This should be Oregon State's just that much more talented. But it is TBD, and I do understand anybody that's not willing to risk that. Again, maybe no play is the best play here. Can we talk about Wright State as one of the last ones, and then we'll kind of wrap up with final thoughts? A couple years ago, they had the walk-off. Drew Gilbert hits that famous Grand Slam walk-off, sends Tennessee to the Supers. Last 2 games, they've had to walk off Wright State. This Wright State team just gives the Volunteers trouble. Yeah. Now, this year, a little different circumstances, is Tennessee just not as good as maybe people thought they'd be preseason. I know we were semi-hesitant on them with Vitello leaving, Frank Anderson leaving, some talent. At some point, do you got to look at Wright State on the run line? I mean, plus 380, you got to think you're going to get a 2.5 or a 3.5 run line there, and they've had to be walked off back-to-back nights. Can they finally steal one? Maybe you throw a quarter unit on a plus 380 saying Tennessee's luck runs out and the boys get one, the Raiders?
One thing about Tennessee I wrote down is just the pitching. The pitching's held that, the pitching has been great. I think if I'm right on this, I have 7
the
runs.
Offense has struggled.
Yeah, 7 runs in the last 4 games, their pitching staff. So lower scoring games. If you think the total is a little crazy Wright State's had it's a program that usually has a really high powered offense. Tennessee is another team that can score a lot of runs, but the pitching has been really good for Tennessee. If you think it's a crazy number on maybe the over, maybe look for the underplay in that.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Todd, I love it. Todd set his alarm. That guy was ready for the show.
Hey,
one of the biggest fans.
Get up. Let's beautiful day here in central Pennsylvania. The sun. I'm going to go for a 2-mile walk after this. Get the energy going, people. Let's go.
I love it. All right. It's one of the segments that I like to do. So we look at these lines. Somebody minus 200 or more. I mean, hell, Matt called on the CBI show 2 weeks ago a minus 1,000 loss. Is there a play you look at this and you're like, I'm not touching that team? I could see an upset.
Q again. I mean, I know I said Oregon, but that Purdue team, I know Todd brought it up yesterday. He I think he hit the number plus 3.5 on that. I believe off the top of my head, that was 8-7. Oregon got up, then Purdue battled back. Purdue is a team that they beat Baylor. Let me just look real quick. Who was another, Oregon State. So could that, I still kind of like Oregon in this, but would I be shocked if Purdue would pull an upset in that? No, I don't think I would.
What is that line? Maybe I scrolled past it. I was trying to find
I
that.
had Oregon
right here, minus 315.
315, yes.
I'll just go back to the Wright State plus 380. Like, again, Tennessee's bats have not been that good. You've had to been walked off the past 2 nights. Can Tennessee finally slip up? And I'll give you one more. So Wright State, yep, plus 380. Illinois. I mean, at some point, Southern Cal is going to lose. You'd hate to be on that, right? But I think you have to take USC in a parlay. It's actually jumped up 45 cents. I think I said minus 300 earlier in the show. But Illinois plus 250 isn't a terrible play, knowing you're kind of playing against that win-loss record. Maybe if you don't get it today, you bounce back with that tomorrow. Those are my 2 spots. I would have to say Wright State, number 1, with the way Tennessee's playing, and then maybe the Illinois, more so a fade against Southern Cal, not a testament to Illinois if how good or bad they are. But that would be another spot.
Hey, Q, what's
yeah.
I didn't write this one down, and we got to dive in. I know I said coming into the show to Q, Georgia Tech, again, the offense was on fire. Who's pitching? Did we get a pitching who started last night for Virginia Tech? I mean, that would be one. If their ace is coming today, could they slow the bats down a little bit? And I don't even know what the number is. I know
I don't have a line because it's a Virginia school, and I'm back on Virginia.
I'll have to try to.
I would say this. Nothing has been posted to where I found this morning, unless it's happened since we've been live. Brett Renfroe, their Friday night ace, did not pitch last night.
Okay.
I heard theories that potential bad weather. Maybe it's an underlying soreness. I don't want to speculate. I just know that he did not pitch. If you can find information and he pitches tonight, absolutely, maybe a run line, because Georgia Tech's going to be favored again pretty heavily. So you're probably looking at a 3.5, 4.5 run line again. I don't think Virginia Tech's good enough to outright beat Georgia Tech. But I think if you can get a good Renfroe start today, if he is starting, I think you could stay within that number and slow those bats just enough to maybe cover there on the back door. So, Todd, here, and I'll kind of wrap this up. What about a loser's parlay from yesterday? The problem is I haven't seen a line for North Carolina this morning yet. I also haven't seen a line for Florida, and I haven't seen one for West Virginia. So I'm not saying that they're not out there on certain sports books, but at least the couple that I can see now, obviously, again, I'm in Virginia, so I can't see it right now, but I haven't seen any of those teams, and I did when I was in D.C. this morning. So if you could get them, yeah, I like a good bounce back parlay. I think that's a real thing. The problem is I'm not seeing those lines. So if you are, jump all over it.
Yeah. I love
it. Is what it is.
Parlay. Great call.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. Wrapping it up. We're about 30 minutes here. You got anything?
No, I think we covered a lot. I think, again, I want to see how some of these teams bounce back today. I know there is some games that have kind of shifted time-wise. I try to, anytime that I see it on X, I try to repost it. I know there's some weather delays. I think Kentucky got pushed back to a night game tonight. Some teams got pushed up a little bit. But I want to see how some of these teams bounce back, especially the bullpens. And let's just keep staying hot. Let's try to keep making money. That's what this is about. We love the sport, but I want a little cash in the pocket, if you know what I'm talking about.
I love it. Yeah, I got nothing else. Listen, we got 196 live viewers. We thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for getting up. Appreciate it.
Trying to give a little game day atmosphere. I know we lack Saturday coverage, so we want to put that out there. Please spread it around. We love having you guys. We love the chat interactions. We want more people in there. We love Todd. We love Delta. We love Hazard. I want about 40 people in there just firing, ripping games. We'll talk about them. That's what we love to do. So, listen, we'll be back next Saturday. Get your coffee, energy drink, whatever you like to do there. And let's have a day on Saturday. Let's finish through this weekend. Enjoy. We have beautiful weather here on the East Coast coming through, and we'll be back with you guys next Saturday. Enjoy first pitch today.